Perfect. I want to thank you all for coming. I can now confirm that we have credible whistleblower testimony alleging misconduct and government abuse that is resulting in preferential treatment for the president's son, Hunter Biden. Mr. Biden has been under investigation for tax crimes that include evading taxes on income from foreign sources. Only the Ways and Means Committee has the ability to report this information legally to the full House of Representatives and thereby make it known to the American public. Doing so is an important step in preventing future misconduct, encouraging other whistleblowers to come forward, and considering possible future legislative reforms. As I mentioned in my remarks before the executive session, there are 3 areas of focus in the transcripts of interviews with whistleblowers. Number 1, the federal government is not treating taxpayers equally when enforcing tax laws. Number 2, whistleblowers claim the Biden Department of Justice is intervening and overstepping when it comes to the investigation of the president's son. And number 3, these whistleblowers report they have faced almost immediate retaliation. Let me provide detail. On number 1, not 1, but 2 IRS employees are blowing the whistle with evidence that the federal government is not treating taxpayers equally when enforcing tax laws. The whistleblowers were working on an investigation into Hunter Biden that opened in November of 2018 as an offshoot of a separate corporate investigation by the IRS. Let me emphasize, this was an investigation in the ordinary course of work at the IRS. It was not ordered by any individual, any chairman, or any political entity. The testimony we released today shows the IRS recommended charges against Hunter Biden that included attempt to evade or defeat tax, a felony, fraud or false statements, a felony, and willful failure to file returns, supply information, or pay tax. These tax crimes cover an estimated $2.2 million in unreported tax on global income streams to Mr. Biden and his associates from Ukraine, Romania, and China, totaling $17.3 million from 2014 to 2019. Mr. Biden personally received $8.3 million. Whistleblowers detail foreign payments to Mr. Biden, including $664,000 from the Chinese company State Energy HK, a large diamond worth $80,000, and a Porsche worth $142,000. These payments are just a fraction of the total, but they provide insight into a world of wealth and influence that no ordinary American would recognize. And what plea deal did Mr. Biden just receive? A slap on the wrist for charges that have put other Americans behind bars. As I said, the federal government is not treating all taxpayers equally. Number 2, whistleblowers claim the Biden Department of Justice is intervening and overstepping when it comes to the investigation of the president's son. Despite what whistleblowers described as a clear-cut case for tax liability on these payments, IRS investigators say they found themselves hamstrung internally. The testimony we have just released details a lack of U.S. attorney independence, recurring unjustified delays, unusual actions outside the normal course of any investigation, a lack of transparency across the investigation and prosecution teams, and bullying and threats from the defense counsel. This was a campaign of delay, divulge, and deny. Whistleblowers say reoccurring unjustified delays pervaded the investigation, including authenticating a WhatsApp message in which Hunter Biden demands payment from Chinese officials, noting that his father is in the room. The whistleblowers revealed IRS investigators were told by U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf that because the evidence would be found in the guest house of former Vice President Biden, quote, there is no way, close quotes, a search warrant for evidence would ever get approved. IRS whistleblowers told this committee that crucial information about the investigation was divulged to Hunter Biden's attorneys. For example, even an investigators had probable cause to search a Northern Virginia storage unit in which Hunter Biden had stored files. Attorneys for Biden were made aware prior to any search, providing them valuable time to remove any materials that could be useful evidence. Few Americans qualify for such soft glove treatment from federal investigators. Testimony shows that U.S. Attorney of Delaware David Weiss tried to bring charges in the District of Columbia around March of 2022 and was denied. Weiss sought special counsel status from the DOJ in the spring of 2022 and was once again denied. Weiss sought to bring charges in the Central District of California in the fall of 2022 and had that request denied in January of 2023. Yet U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland told Congress that Weiss had all the authority necessary to pursue the charges. Well, which is it? Number 3, these whistleblowers report they have faced almost immediate retaliation. They say they tried multiple times to sound the alarm internally at the IRS and raise concerns with the Department of Justice prosecution team. Their concerns were not given fair consideration. One of the whistleblowers was passed over for a position when he was more qualified than the candidate selected by IRS leadership. And roadblocks have appeared in the course of their other unrelated investigations. Now that they have testified to Congress, they have been removed from the investigation. These individuals are risking their careers and reputations to do the right thing, which is to come to our committee, the only committee that can legally receive their testimony and share it with the House of Representatives. In closing, I'll repeat the 3 key findings from today's release of whistleblower testimony. Number 1, the federal government is not treating taxpayers equally when enforcing tax laws. Number 2, whistleblowers say that the Biden Department of Justice is intervening and overstepping when it comes to the investigation of the president's son. And number 3, these whistleblowers have faced almost immediate retaliation. The scales of justice cannot be tipped in the favor of the wealthy and the politically connected. No one is above the law. I will turn it over to Mr. LaHood.
Well, thank you, Chairman Smith. I'm Congressman Darren LaHood, former federal prosecutor. I just want to make a couple points. When the American people read these transcripts, I think you'll see a level of criminality that I don't think anybody expected to see in these whistleblowers' transcripts. And that's the first point. The second point that I would make is it is not a coincidence of the timing of what happened this week. Everybody knew these transcripts, and we had this hearing today was going to happen, and you had a plea agreement that was entered to on Monday. This could have been done a long time ago. It wasn't. So I want people to pay close attention to the timing and the plea agreement and what happened here today. Number 2, when you see the level of criminality that is revealed in these transcripts, I think there's going to be a lot more questions that are people going to want to ask. Why didn't DOJ go further? Why didn't they look into a bunch of these allegations? Why was it done so abruptly and quickly, this type of plea agreement? As a former Department of Justice prosecutor, I think it's very unusual the way this plea agreement was entered into before all the evidence was received, and you'll see that through the whistleblower reports here today. So I give Chairman Smith a lot of credit for having this hearing today, releasing this to the American people. We'll leave it up to the media and the American people to read this and let them decide. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Do we have any questions?
Chairman Smith, what are next steps for the committee? You're going to be releasing these transcripts
Like I said all along, we're going to follow the facts, and that's what we're doing. There's other people that we need to talk to based on the transcripts, and we're going to continue to make sure that government works for the people, not against the people, and that everyone is treated the same, regardless if they're wealthy or they're politically connected, and that has not been the case.
Have you requested any of the underlying tax return, audit records, or other IRS documents related to this case?
We have not requested any of Mr. Biden's tax returns, for example, if that's where you're getting at. These were two whistleblowers that voluntarily testified before this committee that felt like what they saw at the IRS was wrong. What they saw working with the Department of Justice was wrong. And the testimony was more than 14 hours, so you'll have plenty of time to be able to review them.
Ranking Member Neal mentioned that one of the whistleblowers was someone you invited in yourself and not someone who came forward. What is your response?
So that's kind of construed the wrong way. The first whistleblower absolutely came and contacted us. The second one, we were told that the second whistleblower wanted to talk to us, but they wanted us to reach out to their legal counsel and just do the official request. That's what we did, but he paid for his own way here, his own hotel, and he did it upon himself.
And secondly, Ways and Means, this isn't oversight or judiciary. You guys are not a law enforcement committee, but it seems like what you're doing seems to be going around investigating these issues that these whistleblowers bring up. What is the legislative purpose for this?
Well, if you look into the history of the Ways and Means Committee, we have 6 subcommittees, and one is oversight. And so that is a responsibility. My first week, I set up a whistleblower hotline as chairman, and we have been getting a lot of whistleblowers from the IRS. And in fact, this is where the facts are leading. Of course, we have special authority under 6103 that certain taxpayer information can only be made public by our committee, and that's in fact what we did today, so that the process can continue, especially for the committees that might need information that we have.
Will you be requesting any other materials from relating to this investigation with regard to tax documents or underlying materials that these whistleblowers brought up in their testimony?
We're not going to put the cart before the horse, but we're going to follow the facts and make sure that justice is taken care of.
One of the allegations from Democrats is that one of the key witnesses came to testify. What do you say to that?
I have no idea what witness they're talking about. The 2 witnesses stood by it. And the Democrats, unlike the last time that anything was done like this, they've been part of the process the whole time. Both of the whistleblowers have every communication they've done with me, they've copied with the ranking member. The ranking member had opportunity to set in depositions with the whistleblower. He didn't do it. I did. I've met the whistleblower, I've spoken to him. I'm telling you, these people are credible. This is why we released the information.
Can you talk about the timing of why right now it was important to make this information public and why you chose to take this step at this point in the investigation?
You know, we've been pretty busy. Less than 5 months on the job here. We passed an economic package. We passed the most bipartisan trade agreement. And we've been doing aggressive oversight that may not have been so public because of 6103. We've had to be quiet. We were at the opportunity that this is the point. Just so happens that other people decided to move at the same time. So thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Good job. Thank you. Good work.
For being